girl, hey. I am making a video because I didn't want to type it all out, so I'll send you a video. But you can respond to me in good old-fashioned typing, or not at all, because you are an adult and you have your own choices to make. Anyway, okay, so I'm curious to know your thoughts about this. I've been in private practice almost 10 years, and I have had exactly one psychiatrist reach out to me to see how their client's doing on a medication or get my input, a little bit of both. It was one psychiatrist, but on what symptoms were being treated, because I see them every week. Anyways, I was so impressed with that because it just doesn't happen. And so that was cool. And then I've referred a number of people to her because I thought she was great. So she wanted to talk to me about the same client who I've been seeing like 5 years. And he has made millimeter-sized progress. He's just really super depressive and stuck in his thought patterns, and like he's even done ketamine treatment and didn't have a lot of movement, a little bit. But he, since he was a little kid, thought he was destined to the big stage. He's very artistic and creative and bipolar. And so at times in his life, he has had some success. He was in a band. He did play on a stage, not to the extent that he was on the cover of the Rolling Stone, but that's what he saw for his life. And so now he's a 47-year-old man with 2 kids, and he's unable to work because of his mental health issues. His wife supports the family, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, our weeks are very much the same. I see him all the time, but I swear his being in therapy has kept him out of the hospital. Anyway, so his psychiatrist calls me the other day, and again, she's like, so I'm thinking about adding this mood stabilizer and whatever, antipsychotic. And so we had a little conversation about that. And then she proceeded to say all this about like, what are you doing? You should be working on behavior change and blah, 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 blah. And then kind of berated me a little bit about, essentially that he's been in therapy so long and is still the same person. And she was just like, you need to do things basically differently. He needs to go see a psychologist to get a thorough evaluation, which I don't disagree with, but up until just really recently, there haven't been any insurance taking people that do that. So money's obviously an issue for them on one income. Anyway, she's like trying to see if he's autistic. I do not think he's autistic. I think he's very depressive and bipolar. But anyway, so she said, I don't know why he did ketamine. She didn't feel like she was in the loop about that. And I had asked him, did you talk to your doctor about it? And he said, yeah. But like, you don't need her permission. He did it through a separate office, and it was his mental health treatment. So anyway, he did that through the psychiatrist's office. It was the S-ketamine nasal spray. I'm a fan of ketamine for mental health treatment. I don't know where your thoughts are. I, of course, really like plant medicines and things like that aren't available to us. So ketamine is kind of where the cool shit from like years and years of ancestral wisdom intersects with like FDA approval and what we can do in the US. And so like there's some opportunity for what people get from like psychedelics and mental health treatment, whatever. Anyway, Patrick, because he's always in kind of a spiritual crisis, that was kind of his goal going into ketamine, is to like restructure his thoughts about himself and like grow in a way spiritually, but definitely like evolve to where he can tolerate this life that he actually has instead of what he dreamed of having. So anyway, when I was on the phone with her, I was telling her like this was sort of the rationale. And when I said for spiritual growth, she apparently has her own beliefs about stuff like that. And so she like started to lecture me about, she didn't say bullshit, but she basically said that's bullshit. If he wanted to like meet Jesus, he'd go to church. And I was just so turned off by the whole conversation. I just shut down. She was lecturing me, and I was just like, this is so out of line. And very directive on like how I should be doing my job. Mind you, I've never called her and said, you need to prescribe Prozac or Latuda. Like, never would I do that, because that's her job, and let me do therapy. And keep your fucking expectations for real, you know? Anyway, I was so annoyed. I was really, I don't know, it just grossed me out. And I was just like, that feels really, there's a lot of micromanagement in that. And you know who else used to do that, actually? Annette Griffin, who I love. She used to be my boss, but when she became a psych NP, she would like refer people to therapy, but she would be like, they need DBT, blah, 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 or they need, you know, this, that, or the other thing. She would almost prescribe what kind of therapy to use, which I thought was also weird. Like, you know, stay in your wheelhouse. If somebody comes to me for therapy, I'm going to evaluate, and then we all have our different flavors, right? So like, I don't know, it's just, it's weird. It feels very overreaching, and I'm curious to know your thoughts about it. I know that you see people in an acute situation and then refer them either back to community resources or to community resources, but it just feels very much like that's not normal. Well, it's obviously in 10 years it's not happened, but it left me feeling icky. So, give me your thoughts. Okay, love you, bye.